So we have to get the University of the West Indies St. Augustine their cannabis license. Professor
Yes, that's
Antoine,
number
we're going to
one.
work
That's
on that
number
target,
one.
okay? We'll get to that a little later. Coming out of the UNC's manifesto for the expansion of cannabis in TNT, their legislative expansion. So they are talking about the implementation of the Cannabis Control Authority Bill to establish a commercial cultivation, agro-processing, and export licensing framework. They want to create guardrails to ensure compliance with international trade regulations and quality controls, particularly for medical cannabis export.
So the international, this again, that is put there because we're at a juncture internationally where there is a dilemma. We see many countries moving forward. We've seen changes on the international level in terms of the regulations after much lobbying over many years. The cannabis being declassified because it was like a dangerous drug kind of thing. We've won some of those battles, but we haven't won all of the battles on the international law framework. So, for instance, we still have problems, and even big countries that have gone ahead and legalized, like Canada, Uruguay, and these countries, they still have that problem that if it is still seen as some sort of criminal, quasi-criminal activity, there are problems with banking, financial regulation, and so on. So those international obstacles, there's still room for improvement, and we have to cross some of those hurdles, although we've seen a lot of development in the past, let us say, 8 years. And so that's what that is speaking to. I'm not too sure if they understand the full gamut of it, but that's really part of it, that you could be, if you grow cannabis and you make money, you still have the hurdle. It could be treated as illegal proceeds of crime. Yeah. So decriminalization is probably not even enough in terms of the international framework. But we are not the only ones. Canada would have that problem. Some of those states in the US would have that problem because there are still countries in the world, in Asia and so on, that and so some of these Arabic countries, they very much against, decriminalization or legalization. So we have that dilemma. But nevertheless, we do need to move forward in the industry, as I said. And there are ways. I think CARICOM, something I've been saying a lot, CARICOM needs to work together. When have we heard that before? We've always been told this. In every single issue. CARICOM needs to move forward together as a block with a bigger voice. Very often we're not even on the international stage. I've been to like Vienna and so on, the CMD, International Convention, nobody from CARICOM is there. Just one person, maybe from Jamaica.
Why is that?
Because we have not taken it seriously enough, one, and two, we have not worked together. So once CARICOM in 2013, even before then, decided we're going to move forward and interrogate cannabis as a social justice issue, first of all, by the way, then, which is how the commission was formed. Well, everybody wanted to jump ahead. So Jamaica jumped ahead and, tried to do some sort of law reform. It was good, but at the same time, had it not been for CARICOM, Jamaica would not have had the courage, let us say, to do it. But we're happy they did it. But everybody wants to, like in every other endeavor at CARICOM, there's competition and rivalry. Right. So that's the main reason. But we are more powerful together, especially if we are going to have a voice on the international stage. And again, I want to emphasize, it's not just about a medicinal industry. We have all these issues where a person should not be jailed, criminalized for simply smoking a plant and for engaging. Even if the person gets high, it is the person's choice to get high, just as it's the person's choice to drink or do other things, as the case may be. And when we talk about medicinal and not recreational, we are still stigmatizing the use of cannabis.
Stuck in the mud.
And we're still not looking at it from a human rights point of view. And we are beginning to see law cases and so on, which are emphasizing those human rights points of view, but yet still the legislation hasn't kept up to date with that. So we're only picking out the medicine because we think that's safe, that it's more palatable, yeah? But we are still not addressing the fact that as we speak, even in these countries like St. Vincent and so on, where you have had these industries going,
Right.
people are can still be put in jail and so on and so on. And every so often, I think up to last week, somebody destroyed how many acres of, these things are still happening.
Them